All right, shalom, shalom, Mr. Brother Mosar. Starting this video a little early, maybe like 15 minutes earlier than usual. But Lord willing, the brother Shema will get in here. Like I said, I'm starting earlier than usual, so Lord willing, the brother get in here. As you see in the title, man, today we're talking about one of the most powerful things on the planet. And Salaki, I'm driving, but that ain't gonna stop this message. That ain't gonna stop this word from going out, because the power of the tongue is something that we really got to talk about. You know, what you say is powerful. Think about how when you got bullied in the third grade, the fourth grade, the ninth grade, somebody said something about your shoes. They said something about how your hair was growing in. They said something about, you might have raised your hand in class. You thought you had the answer. You gave a super wrong answer, and everybody just got to talking about you. All the way on to your parents verbally abusing you. It's a lot of different ways that the power of the tongue has been demonstrated in your life. But little do most people know that that's in the Bible, that your tongue is powerful. Your tongue is powerful beyond belief. You can build somebody up, you can tear somebody down just with your tongue. Let me get this precept. In Sirach, chapter 5. It's so many precepts in the Bible, we could go all night pretty much. If I knew every single one, we'll be sitting here 12, 13 hours. It's Ecclesiasticus chapter 5 and verse 13. Honor and shame is in talk, and the tongue of man is his fall. I'm going to read that again. This is Ecclesiasticus, or Sirach, you can call it either one. Chapter 5 and verse 13. Honor and shame is in talk, and the tongue of man is his fall. And the Bible says the fall of man is going to come by his mouth. You can say something and get jammed up for it. What do they say when they arrest people? When the police arrest you, they put you in them handcuffs. They say anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. They tell you straight up and down. That's Esau. They don't have no knowledge of the Lord. And yet and still, they still telling you whatever you say can be used against you and will be used against you. They making a promise to you. That's why they tell you have the right to remain what? You got the right to remain silent. You don't have to say nothing. Because if you do, you can get yourself there. You speaking can be the difference between you catching a misdemeanor and a felony. And that's just on a carnal level. That's on a worldly level. How much more so the Bible with the Most High, handling the words of the Most High? This is part of the reason we got to pray for mercy and favor and grace every day, because as a man, you can strive to be as perfect as the Most High, but hey, we slip up sometimes. You might be caught up in your emotions one time and you just let something slip out of your mouth. We can take it back to the world again. You might have been in a relationship, especially for the men. You might have been in a relationship. Your woman made you mad. She made you so mad, you slipped up, you called her out of her name. You said this about her. You said that about her. Did you mean it? No. But can you take it back? Nope. That's the power of the tongue. And vice versa. Your woman might have said something to you, and no matter what she did to try to make it up to you, hey, you still remember what she said. You remember how it made you feel. So your tongue is powerful, man. Let's get Sirach chapter 6 and verse I believe it's number 5, right? Sirach chapter 6 and verse 5. It says, sweet language will multiply friends, and a fair speaking tongue will increase kind greetings. Sweet language will multiply friends. Being that brother or that sister, that elder, even the children, who they got a way with words. Somebody could be having the worst day of their life, and one conversation with this certain person can just turn everything around. They'll multiply friends. You'll have that reputation of, man, that brother, that sister, that elder. You could be having the worst day. Just go talk to that elder. Go talk to that sister. Go talk to that brother. And it also says a fair speaking tongue will increase kind greetings. Somebody who they not always negative all the time. They not always cussing all the time. They not always, gang banging at the mouth all the time. It's hey, what's going on, man? How you feeling today? Oh man, look, you brightened up my day as soon as I saw you. So on and so forth. And I know some of our people, they too cool to speak fairly. In our community, it's not really cool to speak properly, to know how to pronounce every letter out of the words that you say. But I'm here to tell you, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong to with being able to to spell your words without a smartphone. There's nothing wrong with being able to count without using your fingers. Forget what the world is talking about. There's nothing wrong with having the ability. So, I was off the screen. Shalom. Hold on. I can't even hear you. Hold on.
I'm on mute.
Oh, okay. Time. So, all right. Like I said, I started the video a little early, but through the spirit, we're gonna bust this down. So, like I was saying in Sirach chapter 6, in verse 5, I'm gonna read it one more time. Sweet language will multiply friends, and a fair speaking tongue will increase kind greetings. That's something that as a community we gotta learn how to do. I believe it was who was that? Was it Kevin Samuels, I think, said it? Or he was like, our community, we too informal with each other. We're not formal enough. You might have somebody who my age, mid-20s, speaking to somebody in their 50s. Oh, what's up, bro? What's going on? What's good, old man? So on and so forth. You might have somebody my age speaking to somebody who's an elder like that. It's no more good mornings. Ain't no more sir and ma'am and all that. But the Bible said a fair speaking tongue increase kind greetings. That's the power of the tongue. I remember, and you got it at the issue, my wall. I remember a brother was telling me that I had went with the brother to his house one time, and I guess I don't really remember, but it was an elder or something, somebody in their 40s, something like that. And he said that person said that I was one of the only young people that was respectful. That's what he remembered about me. I don't even remember this interaction. But the brother told me, he was like, yeah, such and such was saying that he appreciated the fact that you was one of the respectful youngins. You wasn't just disrespect. Because a lot of the young people, man, they so rude. They don't know how to say excuse me. They too much of a G to apologize. They bump into somebody, they mugging them. Hey, you bump, hey. Oh, my bad, Brian, didn't mean to do that. They walk past people. You can't even nod your head. Every man know what that is. You just kind of nod your head at the next man as you walk past. They can't even do that. It's so many different ways that you can demonstrate a kind greeting, that you can use sweet language. Ain't nothing wrong. It's nothing rainbow about asking a man, "Hey, how you feeling today, man?" You know, how the family doing? I know you said you was going through this. Hey, you know what I'm saying? How they been going? I know you've been dealing with this certain problem, health wise. How you feeling today? So yeah, we talk about the power of the tongue and how it can be bad sometimes, but it could be good too. But you got it, Shamar.
Khan, Shalom, Shalom. All praise to the Most High, man. Nice another day, another video. See the title, Power of the Tongue, man. All right, the brother was breaking it down. No, it's being in Chicago, people are mean, disrespectful, you know, very disrespectful, aggressive for no apparent reason. I mean, it is what it is, but it's off, but the power of the tongue can shape your life. It could either build you up or break you down. It could either get you in trouble or put you in the right position. So that's why the Lord, you know, have teachings, to those that are willing to be a better man or woman, or child, is to watch your words, let your words be few, or don't say nothing at all, or actually speak things that's comely and sweet off the tongue in righteousness. Right. So I had two precepts, but I'm just go right to it. James chapter 3. And this topic can be talked about a lot because, we're in the flesh. So all the times we're gonna say things that you don't need to say. You can slip up and say something, you know. So this James chapter 3, verse 2. It says, "For in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man and able also to bridle the whole body." Right? So a man who doesn't offend in word or haven't, that man is a perfect man. That's what the Lord said. It said, and able also to bridle the whole body, because if you could tame your mouth, you keeping your body in subjection. Because people just blurt out anything nowadays, especially these 20 or these teenagers. They just say anything out the mouth. I mean, just foul. So it said, if any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man, and able also to bridle the whole body. And we're not perfect. We're striving to be perfect. So it's oftentimes you said something that they don't need to say. You said whatever that may be, and damn, I should never said that. Or even if you by yourself, I should never said that, man. You feel your spirit get pricked. You feel your heart get pricked when you say something, that discouraged you. When your mindset should be on a whole different route, a whole different path, right? I'm gonna drop down to verse. I'm gonna keep reading. "Behold, we put bits in the horses' mouths that they may obey us, and we turn about their whole body. Behold, also the ships, which though they be so great, and are driven of fierce winds, yet are they turned about with a very small helm, whithersoever the governor listeneth." Because when you see that boat, hey, that steering wheel, it turns that boat, man. Right? When you look at what the Titanic or any patriotic movies and they on a ship, you see they dealing with storms, and they turning the wheel on the boat. It's moving, right? Off that little steering wheel. If you got ears to hear. It says, "Even so the tongue is a little member and boasteth great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth." Because just by one word you say can get you killed. One word you say could get you literally in trouble with the Most High, you know. So this is why it's important to know the power of the tongue, because everything you say is going to be held accountable, you know, in that day, in Judgment Day, right? Let's bring that out in Matthew 12, right? Matthew 12, verse 36, right? It says, verse 35, I'm going to start at 35. A good man out of the good treasure of the heart bringeth forth good things. Because if a man is burning out anything, you know his mind ain't right, right? He just saying whatever out of his mouth, you know, things that may not even be funny, you know, he just saying whatever. It says a good man out of the good treasure of the heart bringeth forth good things. And you will know when a man is down bad and a brother come up to you, he has a good spirit, good heart, he gonna say some things to encourage you. He gonna, you know, build that man up, you know, or your sister gonna build that woman up, help her out, say things to you know, have her to get back up, man. Two better than one. But it says, and an evil man out of the evil treasure bringeth forth evil things, hatred. Because if a man hates you, if a man or sister hates you, they're gonna bring forth evil things. They're gonna say, you think you all that, you know, whatever that may be. People say anything. You could name it, right? So with a man's heart, you know, if he have evil treasure, he's gonna bring forth evil things, right? Verse 36, but I say unto you that every idle word that a man shall speak, they shall give account thereof in a day of judgment, right? So we got to be careful, because Satan wants you to say anything. He gonna put you in situations to have you speak things that's not supposed to be uttered. And now you're gonna be held accountable of what you said in that day. But you gotta
Hey man, just like the brother bringing out, I mean, every single thing that you say, you're responsible for. And that's even on the highest level we talking about in the day of judgment. So think about all the small moments. I just thought of something. Think about kids when you was a child. One of the most common things that you'll hear, especially with people who, you know, they didn't grow up with their dad. Maybe their dad was alive. Maybe he was around, but you know, he'll kind of tell you, "Oh, this weekend, I'm gonna come see you." You'll have all your clothes on. You'll have your spend the night bag packed, book bag full. You got your PlayStation in your backpack, all that, and your dad never come. He tell you, "Oh, we going to Disneyland this summer. Y'all don't go." He say, "Hey, if you get an A in this class, I'm gonna take you to Chuck E. Cheese. Y'all don't go. You do this, I'm gonna do that." All of these false promises. Excuse me. How did that make you feel as a child? And not everybody been through that. When you was in a relationship, maybe a woman told you, "I hate you." How did that make you feel when she said that? When she called you out of your name, she called you the B word. I'm just giving an example of something I heard before. I ain't dropping no names. I ain't gonna go into, you know, all that. I didn't have somebody tell me, "Hey, I peeped this one." I had a woman tell me, "I'm gonna call the police so they can come and shoot you." Just let that one be. Hey, listen, the Lord is my witness. This is what I heard. I'm gonna call the police so they can come and pop you. That's what somebody told me before. Just imagine somebody who you care about telling you something like that. And anybody who know me, I don't play with the police, bro. That's not even a joke to me. I ain't even going into that. It's not the point of the video. The power of the tongue, man. I mean, just saying anything. Let me get an example of how serious the power of the tongue is. Judges chapter 11 and verse number 30. It says, and Jephthah vowed a vow unto the Lord. Let me get this in my physical bag. Right. Judges chapter 11. We got to really understand how serious this is, man. Judges chapter 11 and verse number 30. It's like y'all, I'm in the car, it's a little hard to see it. Judges chapter 11 and verse 30. It says, and Jephthah vowed a vow unto the Lord and said, if thou shalt without fail deliver the children of Ammon into mine hands, then it shall be that whatsoever cometh forth of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace from the children of Ammon, shall surely be the Lord's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering. So Jephthah passed over unto the children of Ammon to fight against them, and the Lord delivered them into his hands. And he smote them from Aroer, even till thou come to Minnith, even 20 cities, and unto the plain of the vineyards, with a very great slaughter. Thus the children of Ammon were subdued before the children of Israel. Now you might think, oh man, that's mighty. He told the Lord, hey Lord, I'll sacrifice whatever to you when I get back to the crib. Just help me, allow me to defeat your enemies. But he vowed a vow. You got to understand that. And I got a precept after this. Verse 34 says, and Jephthah came to Mizpah unto his house, and behold, his daughter came to meet him with timbrels and with dances. And she was his only child. Beside her he had neither son nor daughter. And it came to pass, when he saw her, that he rent his clothes and said, alas, my daughter, thou hast brought me very low, and thou art one of them that trouble me. For I have opened my mouth unto the Lord, and I cannot go back. And she said unto him, my father, if thou hast opened thy mouth unto the Lord, do to me according to that which hath proceeded out of thy mouth, for as much as the Lord hath taken vengeance for thee of thine enemies, even of the children of Ammon. And she said unto her father, let this thing be done for me. Let me alone 2 months, that I may go up and down upon the mountains and bewail my virginity, I and my fellows. And he said, go. And he sent her away for 2 months, and she went with her companions and bewailed her virginity upon the mountains. And it came to pass at the end of 2 months that she returned unto her father, who did with her according to his vow which he had vowed, and she knew no man. Right? Can you imagine that? You didn't open your mouth to the Most High, and you didn't got your own kids jammed up with what you said. That's how serious that is. I remember my first time reading this. It was Purim. This was I want to say 2023. We was in Chicago, I remember. And I was asking brothers, I'm like, hold on, did he had to actually, brothers was like, hey, he opened his mouth up to the Lord. I'll never forget that. I want to get this precept in Ecclesiastes chapter 5. Because, like, in the world, Jake like to swear to the Most High. That's a big thing. They just say it like anything. They like to put stuff on their children. They like to put stuff on their mama. You know, they put stuff on this dead homie. They put stuff on their dead grandma. Especially down there with his brother Shema Wall at. They got that bad. Real bad down there. Let me get Ecclesiastes chapter 5 and verse number where I want to start at. Verse 4. Ecclesiastes 5 and 4. When thou vowest a vow unto God, defer not to pay it, for he hath no pleasure in fools. Pay that which thou hast vowed. Better is it that thou shouldest not vow than that thou shouldest vow and not pay. Suffer not thy mouth to cause thy flesh to sin, neither say thou before the angel that it was an error. Wherefore should God be angry at that voice and destroy the work of thine hands? Think about that. He said, you might as well just not say nothing instead of making a vow to the Lord that you're not going to keep. Then he said, don't let it happen to where you got to say, oh, my bad, Lord. I shouldn't have said that. To where you got to go back on your word to your creator. And hey, this is not me and the brother Shema Wall saying that we just so perfect that we've never slipped with the tongue. I don't think it's a man on this planet, man, woman, or child, that can say that they never slipped up and said something that they shouldn't have said. It might not have been a vow to the Lord. It might not have been nothing on that level, but hey, it is what it is. I believe it said it in James chapter 3. It might be James 2. Let me get that right quick, and then you got it, Shema Wall. Let me go to James. Right, because I think you read it. It said the same as a perfect man. James chapter 3 and verse 2, right. For in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same as a perfect man, and able also to bridle the whole body. If any man ain't never offended with his words, that man is perfect. He ain't never slipped. He levitating above the ground when he walks. He can walk through walls. He can leap tall buildings in a single bound like Superman. He got X-ray vision. He can teleport halfway across the world. So it's just understanding that the power of the tongue is so powerful that, hey, a man had to sacrifice his own daughter because he vowed to the Lord and he had to keep it. And then Ecclesiastes chapter 5 tell you, hey, you might as well not make a vow instead of making one that you're not going to keep. Don't be that brother that say, hey, if the Lord give you X amount of years in the truth, that you going to do this. And it's just something outlandish. You tell the Lord you're going to travel 50 states in 30 days if he gives you another year in the truth. And you work a 9 to 5. You got 3 kids at home and a wife. Like, you can't be ridiculous. It's better to just not make a vow to the Lord. Me, I'm one of them people, I'm a fan of just not really doing it. Because if you slip up, you're going to feel bad. If you slip up, you're going to be like, dang, the Most High finna get on me. Ask me how I know. What you got, Art?
Yeah, Con, you can't be vowing no vow to the Lord. You know you ain't gonna keep it just because out of zeal. You know, it's people out there that do vows and they really complete them. You know, all praise to the Most High. But proclaiming something towards the Lord, you say you're gonna keep a fast, you break it. You know that the Lord is holding you accountable for that. You know, in the ancient world, you'll get put to death. Now, yeah, you could repent, but don't think that judgment is not going to appear. So like, you don't think that judgment is not going to appear. It may happen. Your car may break down, tire pop. Then for some reason, you can't really study, can't read, got an infirmity. Hey, the Lord may have got up with you because you vowed a vow and you broke it. You said something that was not of the spirit, you know. So we got to watch our mouths. You said something to the wrong brother, not in season, and now he's afflicted in his mind. So this Psalm chapter 64, verse 8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. And a lot of people, their own tongue fall upon themselves. Their own tongue get themselves in trouble. You got a saying, they say, it's a saying that, he told on himself. Jake telling himself all the time to the feds. All the time. Jake telling himself on them songs they make. They always telling on themselves, man. Eve, she telling herself a lot. I like to, put out there, Eve be like, hey, my mouth get me in trouble. But you continuously talk. You continuously run your mouth. So I'm going to read that again. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. Right? So you don't want to be that person that you get in trouble by speaking things that'll put you in a hole, man. Right? I got another precept through the spirit. That's another one. Right, let's go to Psalms. I believe that's 141. All right. This book of Psalms, chapter 141, verse 3. It says, set a watch, O Yahweh, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. David said, set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Because our mouths have to be watched. We need the Lord to guide us in speech. Pray for that you only speak, out of wisdom. No vanity, nothing that's not profitable. Things definitely that don't need to be uttered, whatever that may be, that come out of Jake and Eve mouth. So David said, set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. Because the eyes of the Lord, it's in every place, man. And the angels are writing everything down that you're saying. You're always being watched. So you should always be wondering, like, can I even say this? Through the spirit. We slip up in speech. I have. The brother have on the video. All Israel do. But, you got to have discernment on, what you would say. Like I say, hey, whatever you say, or what the Lord say, whatever you say can either bless your life or curse it. You got people that get out of prison, they still talking about jail. They still talking about jail. Next thing you know, they're going to be back in there doing the same things, exactly what they was talking about. Look at the rich man, Esau and stuff like that. What they talk about? Being rich, setting goals. That's what they speech is continually continue to utter, man. And look what the positions that they at, So I got another precept through the spirit. Right. I'm going to go to Proverbs 18. You got it. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 6. Right. It says, a fool's lips enter into contention, because a fool going to utter anything. Because a wise man, he's going to have discretion, and he's going to say a word that's in season to dodge transgression. But a fool lips enter into the contention, Shalakia, and his mouth calleth for strokes. So brother, sister continue to run their mouth, they just asking for to get beat. Or they may not even be asking for that. They just think they can say whatever because they feel like they right in the moment. Whenever you feel like you right in the moment, you think you right in the moment, and you say whatever, best believe you never know what's going to come right after that. Right? You don't want your emotions dictate how you move. Right? Not to be long-winded, you just see Eve, man. Once she get emotional, she start to utter everything. You piece of this and that, and bow, right in the mouth. Not saying it's right, but you can't do that, you can't do that. This is a deep topic, but it's very, very, very plain. The power of the tongue, you know. So read on, it says, a fool's mouth is his destruction. Why is a fool? First of all, look at the person look at the type of spirit, you know, that ends up in destruction and end up getting whooped and hitting the mouth. And, look what type of spirit is a fool. You don't want to be a fool. This is why David called upon the Lord and said, set a watch over my mouth. Keep the doors of my mouth, man, shut. Because you don't want to say something and lose the kingdom. Your crown get taken off your head because you said something wrong. Let's quick account, right? Let's go to Matthew. Right. Matthew. What I wanted. Matthew. Right. Okay. Matthew chapter 26 and verse 69. Now Peter sat without in the palace, and the damsel came unto him, saying, thou also was with Yahushua of Galilee. And obviously this was prophesied. But do you think Peter wanted to utter these things? No. But he ended up saying it. You never know, the things you say, you could deny the Most High's name, man. And that's a scary thing to do. Right? It reads on, it says, but he denied before them all, saying, I know not what thou sayest. And when he was gone out into the porch, another maid saw him and said unto them that were there, this fellow was also with Yahushua of Nazareth. And again, he denied with an oath, I do not know the man. And that's a scary thing. He denied with an oath, man. With an oath. Right? Read on. It says, and after a while came unto him they that stood by and said to Peter, surely thou also art one of them, for thy speech bewrayeth thee. Then began he to curse and to swear. He cursed and swear, man. Jake, man, oh my, you know what I'm saying? That's, you got to be careful what you say. And Yahushua told him, it was all prophesied. He didn't want to do these things. Everything was, all of the Most High. But you got to be careful with your speech and examine the matter of what you in, because you never know. Your tongue is so loose. The only way you can control is through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Meditating on the precepts, examine the matter, have better judgment. Right. So reading on, it says, then began he to curse and to swear, saying, I know not the man. And immediately the cock crew. And Peter remembered the words of Yahushua, which said unto him, before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. He went out and wept bitterly. And that's how you feel through the spirit when you say things that's not supposed to be spoken. And you just feel bad, man, because the Lord watching. The Lord is watching. It's an angel. It's an angel listening to us teach right now, making sure we say the right things, saying what we're going to say after we read the words of the Lord. So we got to be careful what we say, man, and repent of the things that we say. But you got to.
Hey, it's just, let me just get straight to this precept. It's Matthew chapter 5 and verse 33. Let's see what Yahushua, who the world calls Jesus Christ himself, had to say about swearing. Because that was mighty that the brother just brought that out. I ain't read that account in a minute about Peter. It said he was cursing and swearing. And you know how Jake is. Like the brother said, man, on my kids, on my mama. Jake will put it on the Most High. They'll put it on everybody but the dog that this is true or that ain't true. And I'm just imagining Peter doing that. He swore by an oath he ain't know that man. He was just with him a couple of hours ago. I just seen you walking with dude an hour ago, and now you swearing up and down on this and on that, on heaven and on earth that you wasn't with him. Right? So let's get this in Matthew chapter 5 and verse 33. Again, ye have heard that it has been said by them of old time, thou shalt not forswear thyself, but shalt perform unto the Lord thine oaths. But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Neither shalt thou swear by thy head, because thou canst not make one hair white or black. But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. For whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil. So Yahushua, Christ himself said, hey, instead of swearing on this and swearing on that, just say yes. Just say no. If a brother asks, hey, so you're going to be my best man for my wedding, don't swear, don't put it on nothing. Just say yes. Say no. The brother asks, hey, you know what I'm saying? When it's time for me to move out on the first, you got me? Hey, I put it on this, I got you. Let this happen if I don't help you. When all you could just say yes or no. Yeah, I got you. No, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it. I got this, and that going on the first. Anything other than that, this is the word of God himself saying, just say yes or no. Anything else is coming of evil. You can't even swear by your own head. You're not able to make one of your hairs white or black. That's what it says. You don't have enough control to be swearing. To be putting it on this and putting it on that. Because like the Lord did with Jephthah, he can get up with you. Brothers be putting it on this person's grave and putting it on this family member. Just imagine, you got a brother or a sister. They didn't put something on your mama, and now your mama in the hospital. She on her deathbed now because the Lord got up with her. Because they was lying on her. Imagine something happened to somebody you care about because you put it on them. Prematurely, and now the Lord got to show you that he's not playing. God forbid that happened to me, that happened to Shema, or that happened to anybody who's viewing this video. But that's why you got to be so careful what you're saying. Let me get Proverbs 17, verse 28. All right. And then I think I got one more precept after this, and then you got a Shema. Proverbs 17, verse 28. Even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise. I mean, let's just stop there. Even an idiot is considered to be smart when he keep his mouth closed. How do they know you stupid? You ain't never said nothing. You might think 2 + 2 is 7, but because you never said it out of your mouth, how am I know? You might not be able to spell the word 5, but how would I know if you never spell it? Being more serious with it. You might not be as well versed. You might be new to the truth. You might not even know Deuteronomy 28 like that. How would I know if I never hear you speak? But you got a lot of people with that preeminent spirit where they got to show off. They got to be the smartest person in the room. And they end up jamming themselves up. I remember when I first came around in the truth, I had that bad. I thought I knew something. And because I was opening my mouth with very little understanding, I would get confounded in front of everybody that was around. And it took me a while to learn that, hey, it's better if you just be quiet. You don't have to prove how much you know all the time. That's in Sirach chapter 6. Let me find it. It might be Sirach chapter 8. You don't have to prove how smart you are all the time. You know you smart. This Sirach 32 in verse number 8. Sirach 32 and 8. It says, let thy speech be short, comprehending much in few words, but as one that knoweth and yet holdeth his tongue. You want to be that man or woman that you know the answer. You know how to break that down. You know what that's going into. You know what that means. You know the answer to that. You know the answer to this. But it says, be as one that knoweth and yet holdeth his tongue. You know, I used the example earlier about being in the classroom. This is something else I used to go through in school. I would be able to get the answer quicker than everybody. I'd be the first one to raise my hand. To the point where teachers used to say, you know, I ain't gonna put my government name out there, but they used to say, you know, Mama, sir, give somebody else a chance to get the answer. I was a child. I didn't understand that just because you know don't mean you have to say it. Sometimes you can show the power of the tongue by not using it. What do they say in the world? No response is a response. That's true. You know, Jake, a lot of y'all be talking to y'allself in these women DM, and they don't be saying nothing back to you. We just gonna bring it out. Hey, you talking about how you'll drink her bath water? You'll do all this and all that. You'll tuck her in every night. She don't say nothing back to you. That's the power of the tongue. She not saying nothing to you, and that's giving you a response because you're so simple you don't see it. It don't make no sense. And that's not even trying to be funny. It's real. If you a man, I know for a fact that you didn't seen this happen before. You didn't seen dudes do these kinds of things. Just embarrassing themselves. Like it said in Sirach chapter 5, verse 13, honor and shame is in talk. You can bring yourself to honor or bring yourself to shame. A lot of these things, just the power of closing your mouth. I'm gonna read that in Proverbs chapter 17, verse 28 right quick, and then I'm gonna get my other precept. Proverbs 17 and 28 again. Even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise, and he that shutteth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding. I got a personal saying that you'll never have to take something back that you didn't say. Somebody about to made you mad. You know, a lot of brothers be married. They got a woman at home. Maybe you got kids, and she just working your last nerve. Your kids won't sit down. They steady asking for stuff. You in a store, you just got off work, you got a long day, your back hurt, your feet hurt, your hands hurt. You tired, you off of 62 minutes worth of sleep. And guess what? You still got to control your tongue. Because if you call your wife out of her name, what is that going to do for your relationship? Is it going to help? All she did was ask you, what did you want to eat tonight? You done called her all type of B's and H's. And now you wondering why she sleeps so far on the other side of the bed. She not as closest to you as she usually be. You know, Your kids ask you to play with them for a little bit. You didn't call them all types of B's and H's. You wonder why your kids don't want to kiss you when you leave in the house. These things that really happen, I done seen it in public. Especially women with their daughters, they call them all out of their name. Bald-headed this and burnt. Hey, people say some crazy stuff out of their mouth, man. And wonder why they get the response that they get. It's the power of the tongue. Why don't so many people like Donald Trump? They ain't never met that man. But if you just listen to him talk, what's likable about him? You know? Let me get this word. This precept. You got it, Shemawal. We go to Sirach chapter 9. I'm gonna show you why so many people don't like people like Donald Trump. Sirach chapter 9. I believe I want verse 18. Come on. Sirach 9 and 18. A man of an ill tongue is dangerous in his city, and he that is rash in his talk shall be hated. He that's rash in his talk shall be hated. A man don't have no control over his mouth. He'll say anything. Back when your boy Big Donald was talking about grabbing women by the you know what, stuff like that. I know y'all remember that one. Imagine that. Imagine y'all heard me talking to the brother Shamal All and I said something like that. You know? A lot of these songs, man, especially the females. I'm talking about, man. What Sexy Red say? I'm just paraphrasing. She said the front pink and the back brown. We grown. Y'all can feel it. Sexy Red. This is the power of the tongue. This is a woman saying the front is pink and the back is brown. Y'all fill in the blanks. This is what she said. I didn't make it up. These are the things that people are saying. Think about some of the stuff that Diddy done said. I'm not going to bring it out on here because I don't speak like that. But you can look it up on the internet. The power of the tongue. It's some wild things being said out here. You know? Some crazy, crazy things. I done heard a man at camp. I don't know if you was there that day, Shemawal, but this is Milwaukee. I don't think nobody from Chicago was there. We had a brother come up to us saying that he was Jesus Christ. He said he returned already. He said he back. Hey, I'm not lying. He didn't know nothing that he said in the book when we brought it out to him, but he was Jesus Christ. Let him tell it. Just straight up blasphemy. People it's the power of the tongue. And he got an answer for that. Right? But not to be too long with it. You got a small.
Yeah, that's off. You know, you're gonna be held accountable in those days of the things you speak. You know, so that's a scary thing. We all gonna be held accountable, and most are willing the things we have said has been forgiven and blotted out through the Spirit, right? I want to touch on too what the brother has said. Like, you don't want to be a brother that think you know everything. You start to other things that you don't really understand. And first of all, we edifying the sheep. You don't want to stir the sheep away by giving them false information. You have false prophets. You have, just false prophets and wicked teachers in these last days, just serpents and weird doctrines and philosophies and all that. They stirring away the sheep. leading the sheep into destruction. And all those things you said, the Lord is gonna bring it up. You know, you're saying, damn, you Hamashiach, you saying all nations can be saved. Hey, the Lord is gonna act, the Lord ain't might even ask, but he might ask. I don't know I don't know. He may ask. Why do you think all nations are gonna be saved? Why you break this down like that? Where do you get this from? You know, you saying damn, uh, we can eat pork. You know, you can eat abominable foods. You could pray over it. It's okay to celebrate your birthday. These things gonna get held. You know, in the day of judgment. If you don't repent. This Sirach chapter 5, verse 11 of Salakia, verse 12. It says, if thou hast understanding, answer thy neighbor. If not, lay thy hand upon thy mouth. Because you don't wanna say anything that's just not of the Most High. Like the brother brought out, let your nay be nay, you know, because if it's not, so let your speech be yeah, or nay, nay, because if not, it's gonna be straight madness that you speak, babblings, right? So it says, if not, lay thy hand upon thy mouth. And you got Christians doing that. They have no understanding of the scriptures. And then they bring out one precept. You start to question them, and then they start babbling. You don't have to understand it. Humble down and learn. And if you in this truth for how many years, you still going to be learning. Don't think you know everything and speak things that's not of the scriptures, or speak things that's not what the scripture's saying. We all want to be better in this thing, in speech also. Read on, it says, honor and shame is in talk, like the brother paraphrase. In the tongue of man is his fall. The Lord continuously let you know, look, honor and shame is in talk. So whatever you speak, you could be put in honor. You could be respected. A brother, a woman, brother, sister can look at you in a more respectful way because of things you say. And it's in season when you say it, And shame, whatever you say can put you to shame. Be like, what? Why would you say that? Then, brother he said something off, so he try to get out of that hole he just digged himself in, and he trying to sound wise. Now you putting yourself deeper. People starting to look at you weird, man, or want to kill you. See that? Whatever that may be. And the tongue of man is his fall. All right, so let's go to Ephesians chapter 4. All right. Ephesians chapter 4. All right, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. It says, let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth. So the Lord said, let no harmful words, wicked things proceed out of your mouth. Yeah, I'm going to do this, and I don't even want to say it, Damn, you got Jake just saying all type of stuff. You don't want to be that brother that just say random stuff. And people boast about that. I'm random, Joe. I be random, That's not good. Because you being watched. In the spirit realm, you being watched, man. You being watched by the angels. And ultimately, you being watched by people as well. You got a point? Go ahead.
I literally got a precept talking about brothers that take pride in that. That's crazy that you brought that up. I'm gonna bring this out of the Hebrew. It's Sirach chapter 20 and verse number 8.
Mm-hmm.
He that useth many words shall be abhorred, and he that taketh to himself authority therein shall be hated.
Yeah.
It's brothers who take pride in that. Like the brother said, I'm just random. I just be saying stuff. It's a grown man. You gotta tell us.
Yeah, a grown man. Yeah, I'm just random, Joe. Smiling. You thinking that's a good character, but that's not a good character. Cause you're gonna say some stuff, somebody gonna look at you differently. But they, Jake, they don't care. They don't care. Eve, they don't care, you know. So it says, let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. There's like these teachers out here, man. These pastors, you know, they got evil, corrupt communication come out of their mouth in these churches. They saying anything, you know. Let me rub you down, and the Lord will hear your prayers. Saying just wicked things out of their mouth, and it's not edifying for the hearers. Who's also hearing you. The Lord is hearing everything you saying. He hear everything we saying. So it has to be edifying. The things you say has to be profitable, right? Verse 30, it says, and grieve not the Holy Spirit of the Most High, whereby ye are sealed unto the day of redemption. You don't want to grieve the Spirit of the Most High. You don't want the Lord to be repentive. Like, I don't know what to do with this, brother. You got the Most High thinking that? Why did I do? My bad. That's yeah, man. That's how the Lord felt with Saul. I should never made this brother king. Imagine the Lord doing that. That's not how he actually was, but imagine. We just, man, if we end up having, a business and we let a brother, work, or we let a brother stay so he get himself together, he's not doing what he's supposed to do. You by yourself, like, man, I should never let him stay in my house, man. This man, I need to do. Hey, that's how the Lord feel about a man that's not speaking, the right words to use to edify. That's for the hearers. Or just saying anything out of his mouth, Right, verse 31, it says, let all bitterness, wrath, and anger, and calmer, if I say that right, and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. So to be striving as a perfect man, perfect woman, you got to let all bitterness go. All the murmuring. The Lord's not dealing with murmuring. The Lord plagued Israel for murmuring, right? The Lord heard them in their tents. Right? You gotta let all the anger go. You yapping off at your husband. Jake, you know, brothers yapping off at your wife. You sounding like her. You sounding like a woman now. You complain all the damn time. The Lord is not dealing with somebody that's complaining. Yeah, the Lord hears our groaning and stuff like that, but realize what you've done to be in this situation, right? It says an evil speaking, right? Hey, that's dealing with, you speaking evil of your brother. You're not showing mercy. You're not realizing the mercy that the Lord gave you. So you thinking you in the right. Hey, that's a scary spirit to have. You think you right, and you can say whatever you want to say. You don't want to move in that spirit. Verse 32, and be ye kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Mashiach's sake have forgiven you. So in all this, in the spirit, be careful what you say towards another person. Be careful what you speak to those that teach, to the sheep, because you could stir them off. You could pull out a spirit in them, and now you have contention. You got to be careful. And ultimately, too, outside of your congregation, whatever that may be, people are watching what you say. You got on frienders and they looking at you like, hey, he's saying this. He supposed to be some godly man. Why is he saying this? They start looking at you sideways. Then they end up meeting another Israelite, and you are an example of what not to be as an Israelite. That's madness. But you got
Man, don't be that Israelite that's an example, because we know some brothers who are no longer in the truth. They no longer come around, whatever. And they are prime examples of what not to be. They're prime examples of how not to move. And God forbid that's ever me or you that'll ever happen. Right. I want to bring out one more thing. You got this will be my closing precept. You got anything else you trying to bring out?
Nah.
Con. Let me see. Do I want this or do I want to get a? Yeah, we're gonna close it out with this. Let's go back to James chapter 3. This is the whole inspiration behind this topic today. I was reading this, and I had read it before, but it was just hitting different today. On how this mighty brother James is breaking down the power of the tongue. James chapter 3, in verse number 3. Behold, we put bits in the horses' mouths, that they may obey us, and we turn about their whole body. Behold also the ships, which though they be so great and are driven of fierce winds, yet are they turned about with a very small helm, whithersoever the governor listeth. Even so the tongue is a little member, and boasteth great things. Behold how great a matter a little fire kindles. You can light one cigarette in the woods and drop it on a pile of leaves and call it wildfire. When them wildfires was going on in Canada, it was days over here in Wisconsin where they said the air quality was too bad for people to go outside. A small fire can cause that. It's comparing your tongue to a small fire. You know, that whole young boy King Von situation was started over words that was exchanged over a woman. And it got somebody lost their life behind that. You know, let's keep reading. I want to drop down to verse number 7. For every kind of beasts and of birds and of serpents and of things in the sea is tamed and hath been tamed of mankind. But the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison. Full of deadly poison. It's a man probably right now sitting in prison with a life sentence. Because he ran, like the brother said earlier, they be telling on themselves in these songs. Imagine, because you thought a bar was hard, you was in a studio feeling yourself too much. Now you'll never see the light of day ever again for the rest of your life. You know, you said a certain word, a certain this, a certain that, you lost your job. You in the back of a police car now off of something you said. Even though they give you the right to remain silent. Like you said, this tongue is a poison. So we got to learn how to have control over that. We got to learn how to have control over that. You got to learn when, hey, nah, I ain't really going to say that. I did that in this video. I was going to say something. I even said it out loud. Like, nah, I ain't even going to go into all that. Because not everything is meant to be said. All right, with that, we want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, Kwam Yashala, and Shalom.
Shalom. Praise to the Most High.